too, in case you want to use this, Becky.
Oh, awesome. Cool. We're recording too. So awesome. So we want to talk today a little bit about how you can ask high-level questions of anyone, whether it's your agent in your brokerage, an agent on your team, whether you're a single agent and you're just asking yourself these questions, whether you're growing a business, whether you have kids that are playing sports, no matter what it is, this is a tactic, a strategy that you can use to help increase performance. And hey, if the Navy SEALs can use it, we can use it.
It's not above us.
It's not above us. If it works for the Navy SEALs, it can work for us. So really, what is this called? All right. So quickly, before we jump in, I just want to give you some color around this. This is called an after action review. So if you're in the military and you're listening to this, or you are a family member of someone in the military, you might hear it called an AAR, an after action review. And here's the cool thing. You don't have to wait until after the action is over to actually implement this. But basically what an AAR is it's 5 questions. And we're going to go through those 5 questions in just a moment that will help you think about what it is that you've done or doing. Is it working? If it is, why is it working? If it's not, why is it not working? And how can you improve upon it? Now, Cari, just because you've been in this business for so long, coaching people, coaching agents, coaching entrepreneurs, why is an after action review such an important tool for a leader to use to help someone see their blind spots and improve performance?
Yeah, I think, I always talk about this, you guys. If you're holding people accountable, which is really what this is, somebody telling you they're going to do something and then actually doing a review with them of how it went, is that, we either as human beings, as realtors, as agents on our team or business, as kids, whatever it is, we either run towards accountability because we know it's going to help us be better, or we run away from accountability because it makes us feel bad about ourselves, because naturally human beings aren't going to run towards something that makes them feel condemned or bad about themselves. So, it's not about, from an accountability perspective, why didn't you do what you said you were going to do? Why didn't you get the outcome that you said you wanted to get? That's not what accountability should be. And that's what makes people run away. So I think when we look at these questions, the reason they work so well is because they're asking about what occurred, what happened, what got in the way, what maybe went wrong, what, can we do differently? Because really accountability should be a safe space that people can come to, where it creates awareness around what's going on that they can't see because they're inside of it, that can actually help them get a different result later because they said what they want to do is important to them. And if you care about them or love them or lead them, you want to make sure that they achieve what they said they wanted to. That's also how you retain people and how you get them in production and how you have great loyalty, right? So I think that what I loved about these questions that you brought up, Becky, is it's very much about helping them create awareness around the situation that doesn't make them feel bad, but creates the awareness so that they can get into some sort of other action next.
What I love about what you just said is I was listening because I've really been studying this AAR lately because it's really kind of cool. And I love it. The first thing they said is this is not judge success or failure. It doesn't critique it. It doesn't condemn anyone. It doesn't provide guilt, right? It attempts to discover the why of what happened, whether it worked or whether it didn't. It is what it is, but what is the why and how we can implement goals activities in order to have a different result going forward, whether you want more of what you've already gotten or you want to change it, right? So let's dive in to these questions. The first question that we want to dive into is, hold on one second. I've got it right here. The first question we want to dive into is, hey, what was supposed to happen, right? What was supposed to happen? So I love, even though we're talking about working with agents or asking these questions of yourself or working with our team members, it really drives it home when you think about talking to a child, right? So let's pretend, hey, we've got one of our kids they're playing soccer or they're playing baseball, or maybe they're in gymnastics, or maybe they're on the debate team or the spelling team at school, and they come home and they're like, I'm just not feeling good about this. And as a parent, we're not going to say, well, it's because you didn't practice, or it's because you didn't do this. No, it's, hey, well, what was supposed to happen? What were you hoping would happen? Right, Cari? I mean, give us some more color around that question and how we can help our agents and our team members really uncover what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that always brings me to a conversation of expectation, which I find is a whole nother conversation that we can have, which is sometimes we play out an expectation of our mind that may or may not be realistic. Sometimes I think that expectations create a lot of sorrow in our lives because we've got this picture of what's supposed to happen exactly. And we aren't in control of all the things to know that it's going to for sure happen that way. So what I love about this question is, what did you think was going to happen, or what did you hope would happen? Then the question is, well, was that even real? I like to add in, well, was that really realistic?
Yeah.
Do you think that having that specific expectation sets you up for success or failure? Could it be that you have an outcome desired, but how it's supposed to happen, you can be flexible with, because you might not just know exactly what's going to happen. And if you set yourself up so strongly for an expectation, you're almost always going to be disappointed. So that's a little bit of a different conversation I hear in this. But then I think it's good to say, well, okay, then what, but tell me what happened. What's the reality? Because something was an expectation in your mind. This is what really happened. What was the difference? Why was there a difference? And like, was that even good or bad? Because, you know, what's interesting is we might go, I thought this was going to happen and this happened, and now I'm so frustrated with it. And we can maybe even say, well, is there a reason to be frustrated with it? Like, or are you just so tied to the expectation in your mind that you won't accept anything different? But sometimes in lead generation, I really intended to set 2 appointments and I set none. Okay, that's great that you had that goal. But if you showed up and did the activities, and you do those activities consistently, ultimately you're going to get the outcome you want. Some days you just don't get the outcome. But I think what it does is it opens an opportunity for, do you think you could have made a few more calls? Maybe it was the people you called. Were you in the right energy or mood or mindset? Maybe you didn't have the right script. So, I mean, of course, we're talking about 2 very different things, expectations and then what actually occurred in the reality that we can really coach them through. But I like to bring up the expectations conversation because we set ourselves up for a lot of suffering when we have really specific expectations that are probably not ever going to really come to fruition the way we think in our head.
You know, I love that. So Cari went through, guys, I don't know, she kind of snuck in the second question, which is, what was the reality, right? She went, hey, that's a great question about what was supposed to happen, but let's talk about number 2. What was the reality? I mean, was it even realistic to begin with? And if it was, what's the reality of what's happening right now? The third question is to uncover what went well. What went well? Now, what I find as a coach with real estate agents, whether they are just getting in the business or whether they've been in the business for many, many, many years, agents will go straight to what didn't go well. Won't they? I mean, many times they'll go straight to what didn't go well. Not all, but many times. And so we really want to find out what they did well, give themselves opportunity to give them credit for what they really did well in the action, what they really did well in their activity, what happened, before we go to the next question, which is number 4, what did not go well? This is the improvement opportunity. This is the opportunity for an agent to say, okay, well, these things went really well. This didn't go so well. Okay, so I made 50 calls this week. And yet I did not hit my 25 calls a day. All right. I made 50 calls, but I didn't hit my 25 calls a day. And then number 5, what should be changed for the next time? So Cari, how do we take all of this information as a coach, as a broker who's coaching our agents, as a team leader who's coaching our agents, and really wrap that up in a bow of, hey, what should be changed for next time and how we can move through that conversation to set next level goals?
So I think I love this conversation. I'm so glad you brought this up because it's helping me dive into a couple of things that I realize I asked, but I could ask differently even in my coaching conversation. So thank you for this. You know, what should be changed for next time can be a lot of things. Do I need to set my expectations differently? Do I have to revise what's actually important in my activities? You know, one of the things that I found for coaching is when we start to really set expectations on results, we get disappointed often, and then we're demotivated. When we set expectations on activities that we can do, then we find ourselves much more motivated. Why? Well, because we can control what we can do. And so we can control that, and we can have just one expectation, which is of ourselves showing up and doing activities we said we were going to do. Regardless of the result in that day or moment, if we've got the faith that if we show up and do the activities we said we wanted to do on a daily basis that we can control, we will get a result at some point. And so sometimes I've had to reposition people's expectations more around their activities and how they show up, what they can control versus the actual outcome. Because when we're tied so much to the outcome, we actually sometimes overthink our activities, and we show up with a scarcity or like, you know, a mindset that is actually not energetically positive. And it's actually making us show up in a way where we're coming from this energetic place that we're almost in a scarcity mode, and the people on the phone or the people we're door knocking or meeting at the open house can sense it. It's actually repelling opportunity. But when we can just focus and be good with what we're doing, we come from more of an open and abundant energy because we're confident and we're sure in ourselves. We're showing up and doing what we said we were going to do. And that makes us feel good. Otherwise, we're like, I'm supposed to be getting 3 appointments at this open house and I'm not getting any. And then it's just, we tense up and we come in scarcity and we try too hard and then it never works. You know, I've literally coached people who've been in business for 15 years that were in such a funk that they could not convert one freaking appointment for like months. Like they were almost going to have to get out of the business, and they'd been in it together as a couple forever. And it was literally this mindset of I have to get this appointment versus I have to set appointments, go on appointments, and be in the best version of myself. Once they got into that mode, they started to do converting again because their energy switched and their expectation was different. So that to me is maybe what needs to happen differently. It could literally be that. It could be, are you just showing up and being the best version of yourself, controlling what you can? Or are you too worried about the outcome that you really don't have control over 100% anyway? If you do the right things, you're going to get that result. You've got to, you know, exercise that faith muscle a little bit. But also, you're going to uncover things in that coaching conversation, which I'm sure you do, Becky, which is, well, you know, I was kind of distracted. I wasn't in my, you know, I wasn't focused 100%. So I didn't do as many calls as I could have in that hour. Or, you know, I mean, people are going to start opening up to what could have been different in that scenario. Or, you know, I didn't bunker myself down. I had like 6 distractions. Okay, well, what could you do next? I could put a sign up on my door that says, you know, don't disturb for 30 minutes, or, you know, all of those tactical things that could come up in a conversation are great. But I think those are the easy conversations. Those are the ones people identify. The ones people don't identify are the energetic ones, the scarcity ones, the trying to control the result ones. Those are the ones they don't realize they're doing, that they're actually doing, that they could change. And it would make a huge difference.
Yeah, you know, and I'd love for you guys that, Danielle, it's great to see you. I'd love for you guys that are listening or listening on the live stream, if you want to take yourself off mute and chat, if you're on the Zoom, if you're on the live stream, or if you're on Zoom, if you want to type a question or a comment in, we'd love to hear from you. I wanted to, and while I'm saying this, please feel free to do that, but I wanted to kind of interject there with something that Cari said, is that I do find, it's funny, one of my clients this morning actually tagged me on a post about not being tied to the outcome, right? Because so many times we are, even ourselves, we're so tied to the outcome. What does the scale say, right? What does the scale say? How many likes did I get on my post, right? I mean, come on, let's just bring it down to something that we do every day. So certainly when you have agents that you're leading, or if you're a single agent and you are, of course, leading yourself, the question I would ask you, to ask your agent or yourself is, am I tied, or are you tied to the outcome of the activity, or just the activity, and you're going to let go of whatever happens after the activity is done? Because Cari is absolutely on point. Here we are. We're like, I got to get to appointments today. I got to get to appointments today. Well, what if it's, hey, my goal is to talk to 10 people today about real estate. And if I get an appointment, I get an appointment. If not, I don't, but I'm going to talk to 10 people today about real estate. I'm going to talk to 10 people tomorrow. I'm going to talk to 10 people on Friday. And guess what? By Friday, I should have 2 appointments, because I can't imagine that if I don't talk to 50 people about real estate this week, that I can't just set 1 appointment. And it really does just release all of this angst and scarcity mindset. It brings the energy up. We're talking to people. We're not trying to coerce someone into an appointment. We're coming from authenticity and alignment with who we are. And it just attracts those to us that actually are going to want to be in business with us. I love it that you said that about energy. That is so important, Cari.
Yeah. Elise, Danielle, or anybody else on the call, I don't know if the others that are not on camera are able to speak, but do you guys have any ahas in your coaching with people? I love these questions. Danielle, I know you had a coaching appointment when you jumped in. We did put the questions in the chat if you want to grab them or look at them. Any thoughts that you guys have? Because I know you coach agents all the time for sure.
I have 2 things, actually. So 2 questions. First would be those agents that have been in the business for over a decade. I have 2 of them. And they are facing like complete burnout. So one thing that I always coach new agents from the beginning is like, you have to set boundaries with your clients, even if they're a family member. Like, do not answer that text past 8 p.m. or whatever your line is. Like, you have to create that line. Don't get out of the shower to answer your phone. You know, like, it's okay. But really, like, I hear agents doing this because they don't want, like, they have set, and then they set this expectation for their client, and then that's how the whole relationship has to go. Otherwise, they have set this bar and now they're going below it. And so for the agents that have been in the business for over a decade, they're feeling this burnout because they have literally been at the beck and call of their clients for 10 years or more. And now they're getting to the point where they kind of had this taste of the crazy market, which exhausted them. And now to the point where the market has kind of like turned off. And so they're having to go back and work for the business, and they're just feeling exhausted. So that would be my first question, is like, what would you say to a burnt out, experienced high producer? And then the second one would be to those newer agents that came in, like, they are feeling like, okay, maybe I should pick up more shifts at my serving job again, when they were trying to go the opposite direction. And so how do we get people still completely engaged in the real estate side of things without allowing them to kind of just like fizzle out, either because they're burnt out or because they're afraid of making this shift full-time into real estate?
I love that. Cari, I know you've got some thoughts about it. It's funny because I've got a few top producing agents that have been in the business for longer than 10 years that this actually has happened, right? It's like, oh no, I have to start lead generating consistently again. I don't want to, right? I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years and I don't want to do it anymore. So I'll tell you exactly how I've handled it. And I'd love to hear Cari, because there's so many different ways to approach this and it all depends on the person, right? So one of the things that I did was take them back through the finding your why conversation, right? And it's not really finding your why. It's more about, hey, why am I doing this to begin with? Have I reached kind of that goal that I had 10 years ago? And now what's next? And that's the main thing, is what's next? What's the next opportunity for you? Because they have to get excited again. They have to re-engage. It's all about getting back excited again. So, what's next for you? Is it becoming, in with your business? Is it growing, mentoring, or is it growing a team, or is it adding additional people? Is it pouring into people? Is it starting a YouTube channel? What is it that's going to get them back excited about this industry again? And they will tap into that when you ask nice open-ended questions around what's going to get them excited about it, and discovering something new, a new way. Here we are talking about a new way, a new way to sell real estate, a new way to run a team. Cari, what are your thoughts?
I love that. I was literally I didn't know you were going to say that, but I have partnered with some experienced agents recently in different parts of the country. And a couple in particular have just said, I haven't been this excited about real estate in 10, 15 years. And I was like, well, tell me why. Like, I want to know why so I can help other people. I think it's amazing. And, number one, it is that they've had something where they feel like they can contribute more of their experience. So I find that the top producers that have been doing this for a while, if they've just been selling real estate, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I just mean literally, that's what they're doing, right? Not in a bad or good way. It's just, they don't do anything other than sell real estate as a solo agent. It's not necessarily what they're doing. It's the fact that what they're doing is no longer growing them or challenging them or making them feel fulfilled in the same way it used to. And they've reached a limit where it's like, gosh, it's going through the motions. I don't have joy or excitement or energy around this like I did 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. So I always think people think they're burning out. And I think they're just reaching this level where it's like, well, what's next for me? There's got to be something more. Or sometimes it's just leveling up the way they do their business. To Becky's point, they might not have to grow an entire team to feel like more energy. This one lady, she actually has worked with a virtual assistant very successfully for 5 years. She's a top producer. She does about 40 sales a year, but has a family, has a good quality of life, but she's consistent, steady Eddie, like always doing this because she's mastered leverage in a certain way. She came from an international management degree and then had kids and then never went into her degree and just got into real estate. And the rest is history 20 some years later. What was so interesting about this is that, she now has found a joy in helping and talking to other agents about how they can master leverage through a virtual assistant. While she's still selling real estate, she's just doing this on the side. But I got her into a group of people and she's helped like 4 people and she's called me 3 times since December. Number one, she's done quite a bit of transactions, but number 2, she's like, I'm having so much fun again. So she's not necessarily not selling real estate anymore. She's just doing something else that gives her joy along with it. So mentorship is one that I've seen other people get very excited about. They don't want to join a team, but they do want to mentor other agents. So is there a space for that? Maybe even just training more or, something like that. But even encouraging them to get out there and be an expert and figure out how to lead generate in a new way that they've never done before can get them excited because they have a plethora of information after 10 years and they've got a great database. They just don't want to go back to doing the same things because there's no challenge in it. It's boring. One of the innate human needs is growth. Yes. So if we don't grow as a human being or in our career, if we're just doing the same thing over and over for 10 years, that is actually what burnout is. It's not that we're burnt out because we're working too much. Usually it's because we're not growing enough. It's like they always say you're growing or you're dying, right? Like emotionally, that's definitely the truth.
Yeah. And Cari hit it. I mean, that's it, Danielle, without a doubt. I mean, the thing about it is they got into the business 10 years ago because they were excited about the business and then they were excited about their growth and then they were excited about going to the next level. And I think I see a lot of agents, and it's funny that you say that, who have been in the business for a really long time, coming off of the last 2 years, they just don't want to go back and do it the way they did it 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So finding a different way for them.
Finding a different way to
set new habits. I'm learning. Like they need to set new habits. They need to and not answer those 9:30 or phone calls and set boundaries this time around. And maybe because new agents, like it's really hard for them to set boundaries, right? Because they want the business. Like they will do anything. Your client says to jump off the bridge, you're going to do it. Well, once you've got the 10-year mark, you're kind of like, well, screw that client. Like, I just don't even want to work with them. Someone else can take them. And I think that's kind of where that comes into.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Let them mentor the new agent and give them that client they don't want to deal with.
That's exactly right.
People's problems.
There you go. Now for the new agent, it's funny that you were asking about this because again, Cari and I both have clients that probably got into the business like in 2019, late 2020, and then they rode the high and now it's like, what's going on? Right. Yep. So for them, and I think your question was around how do they grow their business or set down?
So they're not falling back into the old the other job or because they're getting nervous.
Yeah, just like that they can still build it up And then also a caveat to that piece was we let go of Zillow. So we were one of the biggest spenders on Zillow in our market, and now we've completely let it go. We're off the Zillow teat, which is wonderful because it's saving us $20,000 a month. But what it did is it made it where we have all these other great leads coming in, but your phone doesn't ring, you have to dial them. And so now I've trained agents to be lazy by having Zillow for the last 8 years. And now they've never had to lead gen. So I guess it's both factors. It's like either it's because the market shift or it's because they don't have those leads calling their phone.
Or
either
both.
way, now they're having to relearn or feel confident in themselves.
You know, one of the things that that we did when I had a team years ago is with internet leads. And I know that's what you're probably talking about is internet leads are coming in and different things like that, is gamifying it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, gamifying it by setting goals around the number of calls made, the number of dials, the number of people talking to, and do like weekly sprints and give away different things like that. I mean, everyone loves to be entertained, and you can do that stuff so easily now online and do like an electronic gamification where you can do that and
track it,
give those weekly things away, because when you've got small goals to run towards, you know, you're calling these leads, and the ability to recruit them is so far, or excuse me, to convert them is so far out there. So if you keep that momentum going with little sprints and gamification of that, man, it just is really kind of cool. And it makes everybody excited, and you get everyone together on that. And with Zoom, even if they're working from home, you can actually pull them into the meetings and the gamification. That's something I would recommend with.
And Danielle, interesting, Chris, for quite some time, team of 20 stopped paying for leads as well and just said, you know what, you guys, I'm not doing you a service by just, you know, giving you, because you'll never learn how to run this business yourself. You'll never learn how to fish. And you know what? These leads are not going to be the same forever. And who knows what happens with them. So if we don't train you and you don't get into your sphere and you don't get into these other activities too, this is going to be a real problem for you guys. We want to lead you. We want you to become leaders, self-leaders, entrepreneurs. That's what you got into the business for in the first place, not to be employees, to chase around a bunch of leads that may or may not convert, because it's more of a mental thing for them. Yes, Zillow leads do have a high conversion, especially if somebody's good at it. But at the same time, it's almost more just like a safety net. It's like they feel like they're going to have opportunity. So then they go and do more activity. The second that gets taken away, now they have scarcity. Like, I don't know what to do, but they do know what to do. And so he thought that, you know, hey, let's see what happens. Everybody stayed on the team and they were up like 30% last year. So they were able to make it happen. Now you still have old leads in your database, I'm sure. And like you said, you have other leads coming in. They just have to work a little bit differently and go make those calls and go do reach outs versus just, you know, take the inbound. And so I love the gamification idea. I love maybe setting that expectation of why we're doing this, and it's really good for you. And you have the same opportunity. It's just in your mind that's telling you you don't. We want to help you be successful in every market. And that's why we're going to teach you this, because you already have done this now. You learned this. Now let's level you up a little bit. So sometimes if you tell them why we're doing something too, in a way that it's actually going to help them and show them that they haven't lost opportunity, they've actually gained opportunity, because in their mind, they think they've lost it. You have to switch that around, because again, 90% of what you do or don't do is derived from how you feel and think. And so we got to get them to think differently so they feel differently about what you now have them doing. 100%. Elise, do you have any comments on any of this? Because I know you're doing a lot of this yourself with your large team.
Yeah, what I'm realizing as I'm listening to it is I'm really good at coaching everyone to, you know, do the activities and detach from the outcomes. But I think at the moment I have to remind myself to do the same as we're trying to, you know, restructure things on the team and set different things up. You know, we're running into a lot of growing pains. And so it's a good reminder for me to do the same thing.
Absolutely. That's great. As a leader, we do the same thing. We get into like scarcity ourselves and the outcome. And sometimes we just have to let it all go. If they stay with us, they stay with us. If they don't, they don't. We'll always find the right people if we're super clear on what it is we're doing. We've got to let go of the fact that we have growing pains because we can't change it anyway. but we can absolutely be the leader that's coming out saying like, things are changing. There are growing pains. The market's changing. The industry's changing. How can we not change? Change is not a bad thing if we embrace it, if we go with it. We're always here to hear your feedback, make sure people feel heard. And yet at the same time, if we kind of go in this together, just doing the best we all can do, we're all going to have a good outcome. And I think that we have to articulate that vision more often than we think. One of the best pieces of advice I received when I started leading the brokerage years ago was, you think you're casting the vision often, Cari, but in reality, you need to cast it about 10 times more, because you hear it every time you say it. So you feel like it's all the time. The people are hearing it maybe one every 5 times you say it. And you need to say it in all the different ways and all the different, means of communication, because they're not hearing it every time. So don't think that you're saying it too much for them. They're not hearing you every time. You need to, when you're exhausted hearing it yourself, you probably just then finally casted it enough. And that was really big for me. So I started casting it in all the different ways: text, email, Facebook group, audio message, voicemails, whatever. I mean, posters on the walls, like whatever we had to do, casting the vision and sharing it. And then really through staff and having staff do it every time they have conversations, like leading through your top agents. It's just, like Danielle, I would go to the top agents that have more embraced the new way that you're doing this and be like, help me cast the vision to the rest of the people, because you get it. Or Elise, your other staff members, like, yes, there's growing pains. It's okay. It's okay to detach to this outcome and not be stressed out. Just show up in the best version. And then when you talk to the agents, tell them that too. And, so we don't have to be the only people, the one leader doing all the things and casting all the vision and enlisting, the positive energy of the rest of the group. We've got to ask other people. There's a gentleman who I'm going to try to get in here to speak for us. They run a very, very large team of about 60 agents in San Diego. They're the #1 real estate team. And he was a coach with me. He's awesome. Isaac is his name. But he said, Cari, we talk a lot about recruiting to our organizations to help them grow. We have to re-recruit our people every single day. How are you re-recruiting your people every single day? And that was just a big aha for me. It's like, okay, even in coaching, how are we re-recruiting our coaching clients? How are we re-recruiting our coaches? How are we recruiting whoever we're working with? It doesn't matter what we're doing, broker owners, team leaders. So it is interesting to think about casting the vision, sharing the why, being open about the growing pains, the changes, but then asking the support of other people to help us continue to re-recruit the others too. Because if those people are solid, they sometimes have more influence than you do. Remember, as a leader, there's always this thought process by the agents that you have an ulterior motive. Well, of course, they think it's a good idea because it's saving them money. Of course, they think it's no big deal, but they're not going through it the way we are. This is what agents think. That's why you can get some solid agents on your side and you can lock arms with them and say, from your perspective, go help me cast this vision. They'll hear it differently from you because you're like them. You're not the leader. I'm always going to look a little bit differently to them. That's where I found some really, really great support and some success through change, through some turmoil and things like that in the brokerage. So maybe that will help you guys.
And also, I love that, Cari, and also understanding at the end of all of that, there are still going to be those that don't get it, right? And loving them enough to let them go. And I think it's really, really important that we do as leaders. I know that, as a team leader with another company I was with, I understood that some just weren't going to get it. It hurt. It frustrated me because I would see the potential and I would see what was there. But at the end of the day, I just knew that I had to love them enough to let them go, stay in touch. And then, maybe it's would come back or maybe they wouldn't. And so I love all of what we've discussed today. I think at the end of the day, the thing I'm taking away from this, and it's just a reminder to me, is that we achieve success through others, meaning that we have those folks with us that love us, that believe the vision, that believe what we're doing, and we can actually get in, lock arms with them and help grow it. And like Cari said, they will carry more influence than we will because, at the end of the day, we're the leader. They're like, of course you believe it. But if other people in your group believe it and do it, and you have evidence of that, then that will carry the day.
And then find those success stories of people that are still succeeding and having joy and having fun, and where these growing pains aren't detrimenting them that much, at least where they're overcoming it. It's not that big of a deal to them. Or Danielle, you know, they're going out there making those calls and having success. Find those and then ask their permission to share them, or get on a video and share it with them and blast it out to your people. You know, those are the kinds of things that I think when I think about casting the vision, it's not just coming from you, but it's finding the ways you can cast it through other people too, so that people can get on board and relax and you know, be more like that person that is embracing change and is willing to go through this with you guys. Because sometimes it's just their mind. Nobody likes change and nobody likes uncertainty and nobody likes things that are different. It's just life. Some people do better with it than others, and we can leverage those people that do better with it to help the people that don't. And that's our job as a leader. And this is a great discussion.
It is. You know, it reminded me too, you guys that are leaders on this call, take these AAR 5 questions and ask them of something yourself that you're trying to implement now. Are you implementing a new lead gen process? Have you moved companies and you are implementing a new strategy, or ask these of yourself, you know, what was supposed to happen? What is reality? What have I done well as a leader? What do I need to do differently as a leader? Right. And then the 5th question being, what should I change for next time? Or what should I change going forward, so that you can actually invest or investigate what you're launching as well, or what you have launched, and you can actually bend and change. I think that's really the most important thing I'm taking away from this, is that these 5 questions, we can help our business partners, our agents, and our family members, but we can also ask them of ourselves. And are we doing that when something's not quite going the way we want it to go?
And that's exactly why Becky and I wanted to have this, this Facebook group. This is why we wanted to have this mastermind monthly that people can join in, and why we're bringing some of our thoughts, because the industry has changed. The market is changing like it always does. Things are changing around us. Our way that we lead, the way we can grow teams, the way we can grow brokerages, the way we can sell real estate. It's like, there's a lot of new ways to do this, which is why we titled the group Real Estate in a New Way. And so that is really what we are hoping to do in this. So, you know, if you know anybody else who is a leader of any sort, or a top producer just needing to figure out how to do real estate in a new way, we are really focused on team leaders and broker owners in this group, but anybody's welcome. You know, we want to just invite really great people that will contribute like you guys. So please invite them to the group. We do this mastermind every month at the same time of the month. So we promote it in there. And then Becky and I go live throughout the week. If anybody wants to be a guest and go live with us and discuss something that you're good at or that you do in your business, we would love to do that with you. So reach out to us so we can schedule that. We do most of those on Thursdays. And then we just post a lot of thought-provoking questions and things that you should be thinking about as a leader, and concepts like this in the group. So just, you know, peruse it and find some things. There's some guides in there. There's some resources, and we're going to keep adding more as we go into the new year here. So, so please continue to contribute. We love it. It helps us. We find a lot of joy in this, and it's just a free, no obligation space for leaders to contribute in a new way. And we would like you to continue to be part of it. Invite those that you think would bring value and get value as well.
Yep. Ditto. Beautifully said.
Awesome.
You guys, thank you so much. It's so awesome to see all of you. And it's just great for us to come together, empower, bring each other's energy level up, get some great ideas. And this group is only as strong as the people that we have in it. So thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.